Cheryl Ward, and we are here doing another little cooking segment with Chef Shockley. And we've got special guests today, Mark, Georgia, and Rachel. And they're with Ronald McDonald House, and they're going to give us a little insight on what's going on in town and all that fun stuff while Chef teaches us how to cook. What are we making today?
We're going to make some eggplant parmesan today. And we're going to show how to batter foods for frying them. And I'm going to make eggplant parmesan. We'll talk a little about some other things you can do with that as well. And we're going to pair it today with the Martin Ulisse Sangiovese. This is from it's most famous in Tuscany. It's one of the main grapes in Chianti. But this is 100% Sangiovese. Chianti is a blend of Sangiovese and some other wines they grow up there. Tuscany is kind of up north. This is from Abruzzi, which is on the eastern coast, almost due east of Rome. So it's got a little bit different characteristic to it, but I think it's very true to the varietal, and it goes great with the wonderful red sauce. I got some marinara I'm going to put over the top of the Parmesan today, and with the pasta, I think it'll be a great combination.
Excellent.
So I'll get started on some wine.
Now, tell me if this is true, but I used to work at a bar way back in the day, and one of the guys that was there, I think he was Russian or Swedish, and he used to say that off the mountain, after they get done skiing, they would drink warm Chianti, like boiling, and sometimes they would put sugar and like it was their hot chocolate. And I kept thinking, I don't know if I want to ruin my Chianti with sugar and...
Well, you know, I've had hot mulled wine before, and it can be very good on a very cold day, and I can see it coming off the slopes. I've never made it with Sangiovese, but you typically want a good deep-bodied red wine to go with it, so Sangiovese would definitely fit that regard, so I can see where they would want to do that. So I'll have to try that sometime. That might be interesting.
Well, I love when you guys always say what it kind of is related to, like a Chianti or the Chardonnay. So this one is the
Sangiovese is the grape, and the grapes are actually grown by Christi's relatives back in Abruzzi, and then they make the wine and bottle it, and we bring it into Corpus Christi, so it's imported directly into Corpus Christi, which makes it kind of fun.
Sure.
And it's got a great family tie-in. Christi's mom immigrated from Italy back in the 50s, and she's got relatives who are still back there, so that's where the tie-in came from. So this is our Sangiovese.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, well, show us what you're going to do with this Parmesan. It is, it's great.
Yeah. We're going to bread some eggplant today, and we call it standard breading procedure in a restaurant. So I've got some egg wash here. I just took 3 eggs with just a tiny bit of water and whipped them up a little bit. I've got some flour, and then I've got some Italian breadcrumbs. And you can make your own from leftover bread if you want to in a food processor, or you can go to the store and just buy the canned breadcrumbs. They work out very, very well.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Where do you find those breadcrumbs? Because I went to like 5 different stores trying to find them and couldn't.
They are with the flour.
Okay.
In the baking line. So HEB has them, which is really one of our few options that we have here in town.
Okay.
So, but they have them. And the HEB brand is actually very good. Progresso makes a good one.
Okay.
Or you can just take your stale bread, toast it up in the oven, those nice and dry, food processor.
That's what we ended up doing.
Yeah, so that's always great. This is kind of fun thing. You can combine different types of bread. You can get a little bit different flavors in there from that.
Now, is there an important way to cutting the egg Parmesan?
No, I'm going to do smaller rounds today. Some people do it nice and long. Some people will sprinkle with salt before they cook it, and that draws some of the moisture out, and you can rinse the salt off. It gives a little bit different texture, but for the Parmesan, I don't think you need to do that. So I'm going to go into the flour, and the flour will stick to the eggplant. Then I'm going to go into the egg wash, and the egg wash will stick to the flour. Then I'm going to go into the breadcrumbs, and the breadcrumbs will stick to the egg wash. If you do it just with egg wash, it'll all fall off the eggplant. So if you go on the flour first, you end up with a lot better texture to the finished product.
That's the problem I have.
Yeah.
Doing the flour first.
Now we know the trick.
Yeah.
Flour, then egg.
Yeah. And when you're doing it, you want to have a dry hand and a wet hand. So I'm going to go with the dry hand here. And I use my wet hand here and then my dry hand here. That way it's a little easier to manage.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start sauteing this in just a little bit of olive oil. And then you can tell us a little bit of what y'all have going on with the Ronald McDonald House.
Certainly. Well, first off, thank you for inviting us out. We looking forward to all week. We've been looking forward to meal and some wine, but also the opportunity to let the community know a little bit more about the Ronald McDonald House and what we do. What we find as we go around the community is everyone knows who we are. When they see the logo that I'm wearing on my shirt or our name badges, everyone knows who we are, and especially with our affiliation with McDonald's. But if you ever know really what we do, and so these are excellent opportunities for us to inform the community about what we do. And essentially what the Ronald McDonald House is we're a home away from home for families who are traveling to fulfill the medical needs of their child. So we're a 25 room hotel for families who have a child receiving active medical care.
Which I would imagine works well with having the Children's Hospital out here.
That's exactly right. We're located right across the way, about 150 yards away from Driscoll Children's Hospital. About 90% of our guests are patients at Driscoll Children's Hospital. However, we accept families from all over. All coastal bend hospitals are there. There are 3 criteria that we establish for a family to stay at the Ronald McDonald House, and the first one is they have a child receiving medical care. They reside 50 miles or further outside the city of Corpus Christi, the city limits. And the reason why the thinking is that they're that close, that they normally would have a residence or somewhere to stay. So about 90% of our guests are from the Rio Grande Valley that are visiting with us. Another common question we get asked is, how long or what's your average stay? How long does a family stay with you? And it really depends on the diagnosis. We have many families that stay with us for one evening. Their child is getting ready for an outpatient procedure the next day. To those that will be with us a month, a year, or even longer. We've had, especially those that have been diagnosed with cancer or receiving a transplant, typically they'll be with us for a longer period of time. There are in the United States, there are 180 Ronald McDonald houses, and around the world, we're a global organization. We have more than 340 Ronald McDonald houses around the world. But Corpus Christi has a distinction. This is one thing we're very proud of. We have the distinction of hosting the longest staying family in the history of any Ronald McDonald house in the world. Wow. We had a family stay with us for 5 years. And I'd like to share that because it's really neat to say that when we say you could stay as long as you need to, we mean that, and we demonstrate that. And that family was one that was with us for 5 years. We ask for donations for their night stay, but we don't turn anyone away for the inability to pay. And that's a real common characteristic of our families, because a lot of them, because they're traveling from out of town, mom and dad aren't working. They've experiencing some significant medical bills. They're having to be uprooted from their home. So a lot of time they're financially compromised, and we're able to relieve that burden. Our goal is always to what we can control. We can help relieve the financial burden on them, as well as the emotional burden. It's really neat to see all of our families get together and kind of share their stories, their perspectives on their child's diagnosis. A lot of these families are unaware their child's just been diagnosed with cancer and don't know what lies in front of them. These families really rally around them, and you see them put their arms around them and say, this is what you could expect through this whole journey. So
that's awesome.
It's really neat. It's we're very proud of the mission. It's a wonderful place to experience. It's not hard to be motivated to get up in the morning and show up at work, because you know
you're helping
you're helping families out. And when you see the sincerity in their eyes of when they tell you, we really don't know what we would have done without you, that's all the motivation you need to
well,
keep
just
going.
talking to other parents that would have similar cases, or even just the hospital stuff, it must be nice. It's like that team unit of, this is what you can expect here. And then do you guys have counselors on site, or do any of that kind of like meeting with all the parents and all that stuff at the house?
We have meetings with the families just to kind of keep them updated on what's going on when we have shared meals coming in and all that. But our counseling that we provide is just being there when they need something. If they need a ride to the hospital, if they need a ride to the grocery store, that's what we're there for. It's just being there on a moment's notice.
Now you see fundraiser stuff all the time for you guys, and I know that the summer is probably a big time for you guys to do some good fundraising, aside from maybe Christmas and all that fun stuff. But what do you guys got going on for the summer? I know the Grape Stomp's the big thing.
Right.
What's going on with that?
Well, we're really excited about the Great Stomp, and more importantly is we put together about 3 fundraisers a year that help our operations, and it'll help us to keep our doors open. But those three are, while they're some of our larger ones and our signature ones, one of them being Casa de Amor. We have George Foreman coming in October of this year. We're excited about bringing him in. The ones that are most important to us are the third-party ones. Those are the ones that are people doing a benefit on our behalf. And the Crush Girls and Tony Martinez approached me about doing this event, which really tied in well. It allows us to focus on what we do best. We take care of our families, and that's what we do best. Fundraising is a necessary component of what we do, but if we could focus on doing that and others do some of that fundraising on our behalf, it really helps take the pressure off and allows us to do, like I said, what we do best. So we're excited about this one. It's a unique event. It's new. Everything we do at the Ronald McDonald House and our fundraisers and activities, we always try to be unique, different, and better than others. And this goes right in line with it. If you recall, in February we did the Color Me Rad 5K
Which
event.
was huge out here.
Yes.
It was huge, more than 6,000 runners, but we brought something that was different, and Corpus Christi responded. I was so proud to see Corpus really step up and support an organization, our organization, but also support the community and really just enjoy themselves.
Well, I see Chef is getting some marinara
Yes,
on, and they're a little bit golden and pretty and smelling delicious.
So
So now what?
Brown them. I'm going to put a little bit of cheese on top. Throw it under the broiler for just a second, and that'll be ready. Then we can toss a little bit of spaghetti with the marinara, and we'll serve the Parmesan with the spaghetti.
Now I would say that only cooks for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a very quick dish.
So what, 2.5 on each side maybe?
About 2.5, 3 minutes on each side, just till it gets golden brown. So those are thin slices, so it doesn't take them very long to cook.
And are you baking it now?
I've got it underneath the broiler just to melt the cheese a little bit and get it nice and hot. I'm going to put some spaghetti. I cooked the spaghetti earlier. You can cook the spaghetti, and I ran cold water over it and cooled it off. Now I'm just going to reheat it a little bit in some hot water. That makes it real easy when you're cooking spaghetti at night. You can do it ahead of
I didn't know
time.
that.
Have it sitting there, and then just heat it back up.
Sure, that sure beats putting it in the microwave.
I was going to say, this probably tastes better than when it gets all stuck together in the microwave.
Mm-hmm. I just put a little sauce in here. I'm going to put the pasta on top of the sauce. And it's also good because the starch from the pasta will mix with your marinara sauce, and it gives it a really nice consistency here. So I'm just going to heat this up a little bit. And it will take just a minute for this melt the cheese here.
Now, what kind of pasta sauce are you using?
This is just a very simple marinara sauce.
Like no extra basil, mushroom, garlic,
It's
anything like that?
Tomatoes, garlic, and basil. A
Okay.
little bit of salt and pepper, and that's it.
Awesome.
So you can see it melted very quickly.
Wow.
It's ready to go. I'm gonna come.
Thank you.
All right, we get to share here.
Yeah, y'all picked the right spot to sit.
We certainly did.
There you go.
This looks wonderful.
And we always talk about how wines mix well and just change the flavor of stuff.
It does. It's fun when you sip the wine, and then in a second when you try the marinara sauce, then it'll have a totally different flavor to it. Okay, so we got our eggplant parmesan. Have a little bit of spaghetti with marinara sauce to go with it. Oops.
Well, before we taste this, because it looks wonderful and it looks hot, Rachel, I want to ask you, how does somebody get involved with Ronald McDonald House, and what are kind of the opportunities that people can help out or be a part of it?
Well, there are many different opportunities. We have a program called Share Meal Program, where it's basically a group, whether it be a family, school, church group, anything like that, can come and provide a meal for our families in the evening. We just ask that they bring over the products that they want to cook, and then cook it in our commercial kitchen. And then that way our families have a nice home-cooked meal to have whenever they come back from the hospitals. A lot of times, you know, things are stressful, and cooking food whenever they get home is kind of the last thing they probably have energy for. So if they just want to come by the house and ask us about that, and we can also give them some further information and schedule a time for them to come in. That would be great. Also, we have a pop tab program where we recycle the pop tabs that come off of Coke cans.
Okay.
And if they want to come by and just grab a cardboard house that we have, just kind of stick that in their classroom or their youth group facility or anything like that, we can do that as well. Also, just volunteering at the house, being at the front desk, being that face that comes in and welcomes the family after a long and struggling day, you know. And anything else that they want to find out, they can just give us a call, 854-4073.
Well, let's go ahead and give this a whirl. Go ahead and try it, ladies.
But take a sip of wine first,
Okay.
and then see how the wine changes. It'll bring out the flavor of the food, and the food will bring out the flavor of the wine. It really is a wonderful marriage. The Italians make their wines to go with food, so their wines always will taste better with food than by themselves. Not to say you can't drink them by yourself, because I do frequently, but they go together very, very well.
Now, could you do this with a white wine too, and give it a different spin? Because it is a vegetable, and I know we talk about like red meats, usually red wine.
That's
So-
wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, this is, it's a light enough dish to where a white wine would definitely stand up to this. It goes good with their Trebbiano, with its Southern Italian Chardonnay, or your favorite Chardonnay. My rule for food typically is if you like a wine and you like a food, they're going to go together. You know, drink what you like and eat what you like and just pair them together. There are some exceptions to that, but for the most part.
Maybe some of that boiling red wine.
Yeah. Well, Mark, Georgia, and Rachel, thank you for joining me and Chef Shockley. I'm Cheryl Ward, and we're drinking, what again?
Our Martin Ulisse Sangiovese.
And you guys can come check us out at the Grape Stop. Ronald McDonald will be out there helping us out. This is Martin Ulisse Imports. See us on Facebook. Salud.